The Harry Potter movies have been a beloved series for years. They are the type of movies you can watch over and over again, so it's not surprising that Warner Brothers has decided to expand the series into a television show. 7 seasons spanning over 10 years will air on their streaming service Max. Currently, they are looking for a showrunner. Once that is established, the search for new actors will begin. It's hard to picture anyone but Daniel Radcliffe as Harry Potter or Alan Rickman as Severus Snape. Casting new actors is not going to be an easy task. Like the original movies, the adult characters will probably be cast first. So who could be the new Albus Dumbledore or Lucius Malfoy? Today we are going to dive into recasting 25 characters for the new Max television series. The original series had a rule that the actors must be British. We will attempt to follow that rule, but there are going to be a few that break it. 2 opinions will be given for each character, so make sure to comment on which one you think would be better. So without further ado, let's jump in. Albus Dumbledore. Richard Harris and Michael Gambon both portrayed Albus Dumbledore. Richard Harris was in The Sorcerer's Stone and The Chamber of Secrets. Sadly, he passed away in 2002, and Michael Gambon came in to play Dumbledore for the rest of the films. Dumbledore is a character who can be gentle, but also demands respect. He can work things out inside his head without showing his cards. There's a lot more to the character than what's on the surface, but sometimes you can get a glimpse of it in his eyes.
What happened down in the dungeons between you and Professor Quirrell is a complete secret. So, naturally, the whole school knows.
The first option for playing Dumbledore is Jude Law. He's appeared in movies such as The Talented Mr. Ripley and Sherlock Holmes. Jude Law has already played Dumbledore in the Fantastic Beasts series, but unfortunately that has been put on the back burner indefinitely. We already know that he can get into Dumbledore's mindset, so it's not a far leap to think that he can do it again. Plus, if they were interested in finishing the final 2 films of the Fantastic Beasts series, having Jude Law in the television show might bring attention back to the movies.
You do not seek power or popularity. You simply ask, is a thing right in itself? If it is, you do it no matter the cost.
The second option is Kenneth Branagh. He played Gilderoy Lockhart in The Chamber of Secrets, but also appeared in the 1996 Hamlet and more recently, A Haunting in Venice. He has bright blue eyes that could work well as Dumbledore, and he has a remarkable ability to transform into his character, whether it's being stern or a comedic relief.
To sleep, perchance to dream, aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come.
Rubeus Hagrid. Robbie Coltrane played Rubeus Hagrid. There was also a body double for scenes where Hagrid needed to appear taller. That was played by Martin Bayfield. While the advancements in modern CGI can help with the height difference, you still want the actor to be on a taller or larger size. Hagrid is supposed to be a 12-foot tall, lovable half-giant. He's gentle despite his size and has a big heart.
Seriously misunderstood creatures spiders are. The eyes, I reckon, they unnerve some folk.
Not to mention the pincers.
Yeah, I reckon that too.
The first option is Stephen Fry. He narrated the British version of the Harry Potter books series and hosted some specials on the Wizarding World. His list of acting credits is rather long, but to mention one, he's in one of my favorite TV shows, Bones. I've always felt that Stephen Fry was a charming man. He seems to give off the sense of being a big teddy bear. He can provide comedic relief while also being a serious man. He's even a few inches taller than Robbie Coltrane was.
On the highest authority there is that I am, and always will be, a Hufflepuff. And I'm proud to be a Hufflepuff, I may say.
The second option is Brendan Gleeson. He was in the original movies as Eye Moody. You also might recognize him from Calvary or Braveheart. I can easily see Brendan Gleeson slipping into the role of Hagrid. He has a good voice for it. While many of his roles involve rougher characters, he still has the ability to play light-hearted characters. Also, he's musical, so maybe we could even see him play a wooden flute.
D is for drive. Yeah, just drive. Any questions?
You don't know how to drive, do you?
Voldemort. Several actors brought Voldemort to the big screen. Ralph Fiennes is the main actor people think about. He was brought in during the Goblet of Fire. Richard Brenner and Ian Hart were Voldemort in The Sorcerer's Stone. Christian Coulson, Hero Finds Tiffin, and Frank Delane portrayed younger versions of Tom Riddle in the Chamber of Secrets and the Half-Blood Prince. The person who will play the new Voldemort needs to be comfortable with being in the makeup department for a while. The lack of a nose will still probably be CGI, but there's a transformation that needs to happen. Voldemort needs to come off as strong, evil, vindictive, and a bit naive.
Harry Potter is dead. From this day forth, you put your faith in me.
The first option is Jamie Campbell Bower. He did a brief moment in the original films as a young Grindelwald. Many people probably recognize him from Stranger Things or the Twilight Saga. From watching Stranger Things, it's clear he is fine with putting layers on his face to become a character. I think he could still play himself for some of the flashbacks, as he could easily look younger or older. And he can be a charmer, and quite scary too.
I know what it's like to be different, to be alone in this world.
The second option is Benedict Cumberbatch. He's known for playing the Doctor Strange character in Marvel movies. He was also in The Imitation Game. Funnily enough, he was also in an episode of The Simpsons voicing Severus Snape. I don't know why, but for some reason, I feel like Benedict Cumberbatch has a great face for Voldemort. Playing Doctor Strange has prepared him to work in the role of magic. He's a well-rounded actor, and it wouldn't be hard for him to pull off Tom Riddle.
A remnant of a time long past. Genetically engineered to be superior so as to lead others to peace in a world at war. We were condemned as criminals, forced into exile.
Minerva McGonagall. The wonderful Maggie Smith brought Minerva McGonagall alive on screen. Not everyone knows it, but Maggie Smith was battling cancer while filming the series. She is a British legend in the acting field. She has done a lot of play work and has appeared in movies such as David Copperfield with Daniel Radcliffe and The Secret Garden. The actress chosen to play McGonagall needs to be stern and soft. She has a past filled with sadness, but still found a way to move forward. She's brilliant and brave, a force not to be reckoned with.
Oh, thank you for that assessment, Mr. Weasley. Perhaps it would be more useful if I were to transfigure Mr. Potter and yourself into a pocket watch. That way one of you might be on time.
Well, we got lost.
Then perhaps a map.
The first option is Emma Thompson. She originally played Sybil Trelawney in the movies, but you also might recognize her from Sense and Sensibility with Alan Rickman or Love Actually. Emma Thompson seems to be a very fun woman. She is also good at transforming into different characters. She can easily be a caregiver to the students and let loose when it's just the professors.
Would you stay, knowing life would always be a little bit worse? Or would you cut and run?
God.
The second option is Kristen Bauer, the first to differ from the British rule. She's an American actress originally from Wisconsin, who has starred in the True Blood series and Once Upon a Time. So she doesn't have the accent for McGonagall, but she could work with a vocal cords to get it down. I think her role in Once Upon a Time would be a good prep for this role. There was a lot of green screen work and magic. She plays a villain, but is also hurt. She's good at showing different sides to one character.
Do you think that'll be enough? Well, you've been so worried that the Dark One might turn Emma into a monster. You forgot. That's exactly what you did to my Lilith.
Severus Snape. Alan Rickman was an early cast as Severus Snape. He is actually why several characters were aged up in the series. Snape is supposed to be in his early 30s when the Sorcerer's Stone takes place, but Rickman was in his early 50s. Lily and James Potter, Sirius Black, Remus Lupin, and some other characters were cast to match the age of Alan Rickman. Snape is a character that takes a long time to get to know. When we first meet him in the series, Harry thinks that he's the villain. He's the red herring throughout it all. The actor needs to be able to be hard and soft, troubled yet strong.
But why deny the Dementors? They're so longing to see you. Do I detect a flicker of fear?
The first option is Harry Melling. This might sound a little odd to have Dudley Dursley grow up and become Severus Snape, but since the Harry Potter series, he's been in The Queen's Gambit and The Pale Blue Eye. I think he can pull off the look of Snape. I know that Adam Driver has been favored by many people, but Melling has changed a lot since we've seen him as Dudley Dursley. He would also be more age-appropriate for the role.
Wasn't appalling.
savage thing. You might have gone straight to there, secured a confession.
I didn't want them to confess. I wanted them to die.
And so what now?
The second option is Theo James. You might know him from the Divergent series or the Underworld series. I knew Theo James as an odd choice. I saw him with long hair and thought he could be an interesting choice. He's a good actor, and I think he's currently having a second come up after his rise in the Divergent series.
You're supposed to be smart. If I wanted to hurt you, I would have.
Remus Lupin. David Thewlis played Remus Lupin, starting in The Prisoner of Azkaban. He originally auditioned for Quill in The Sorcerer's Stone, but that role went to Ian Hart. They brought him back to audition for Lupin when casting the third film. Lupin is someone who holds onto pain and fear. He became a werewolf as a child as an act of revenge against his father. He always felt less than because of his status. We see Harry look up to him, but under the surface, he never felt good enough. Later in the series, Harry gives him a wake-up call and he steps up.
You know, the very first time I saw you, Harry, I recognized you immediately. Not by your scar, by your eyes. They're your mother, Lily's.
The first option is Will Poulter. He has starred in movies such as The Maze Runner, We Are the Millers, and Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 3. Will Poulter can be fun and serious. He can make you believe he's the character he's playing. He's good at sending messages by facial expressions. Plus, I think he has a good look for Lupin in his early 30s.
He was better than me. Much, much better than me. He worked harder, and it was the first time I realized that I wasn't the best.
The second option is Taron Egerton. He was in the Kingsman movie and played Elton John in Rocketman. He's played tough characters, action characters, funny characters, and real characters. While he's only been in the game for about 12 years, he knows how to adapt well to playing different roles.
You stay strong. I stay alive.
We win the war and I'm
But before you even miss me.
Sirius Black. Gary Oldman gave us Sirius Black. He joined the crew in The Prisoner of Azkaban. In an interview, Oldman once called his acting as Sirius as mediocre, but this thinking is that you always want to see yourself improve and become better. Personally, I loved him as Sirius Black, and knowing behind the scenes how he helped Daniel Radcliffe grow as an actor makes it all even better. Sirius Black was rejected by his family, and then lost the Potters who had taken him in. He spent years in Azkaban, having bits of himself sucked out by Dementors. When the truth behind his crimes come out, he still ends up living in hiding. He's supposed to be in his 30s, but is stuck in his early 20s. He suffers while trying to keep it all to himself.
You're not a bad person. You're a very good person who bad things have happened to. You understand?
The first option is Sam Claflin. He was Finnick in the Hunger Games movies and stars in Me Before You. Personally, I love all the films I've seen him in. He's already been in several movies based on books. He's excellent in a role that makes you fall in love with the character and feel the heartbreak when it goes sideways.
Me smashing those photographs was not an accident.
Sorry. I didn't think.
You thought you knew best. Well, I don't want those pictures staring at me every time I'm stuck in bed waiting for someone to bloody get me out again.
The second option is Jedediah Goodacre. He breaks the British rule as he was born in Canada. He was in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and the movie Finding You. Jedediah Goodacre has made the change from movies for children or young adults to horrors and thrillers. He hasn't had any huge roles, but I think he would be up for the task. I think he could be one to watch if he just got that perfect role to put him in the spotlight of the masses.
You see, I have a very peculiar invulnerability, which makes me insanely difficult to harm.
Peter Pettigrew. Timothy Spall played Peter Pettigrew. He joined the Harry Potter crew during Prisoner of Azkaban. There is also a younger version of Pettigrew played by Charles Hughes. Pettigrew is a rat in more than one sense. In the first two books, we only know him as Scabbers, the pet rat. Then we learn he is actually an animagus. He betrays his best friends to try to save himself. He is weak and cowardly. I think a bit of him feels terrible for his actions, but wanting to survive outweighs that feeling.
I didn't mean to!
Dark Lord. You've no idea the weapons he possesses. You could touch up Sirius. What would you have done?
The first option is Thomas Brodie Sangster. He was in the Maze Runner series and played the adorable lovesick child in Love Actually. He looks younger than he is, which could work in his favor for Pettigrew. He lived as a rat for 12 years, and I think that could have different effects on his aging.
So if there is even the slightest chance that we can save him, we can get him out of there, then we have to take that.
The second option is James Buckley. He starred in the TV show and series The Inbetweeners and Charlie Countryman with Rupert Grint. I think without his beard he might be able to pull off both the young and current Pettigrew. I'll admit I'll have only seen one or two things he's in, but he stood out as a potential for this role.
But it's for work, basically. You're not really, as an actor, you're not in charge of what you look like, but I mean there's not really much to work with to begin with, so I don't worry about it too much.
Dolores Umbridge. Imelda Staunton played Dolores Umbridge. She joined during the Order of the Phoenix. She was able to capture the mousy meaniness so well. Umbridge is a small and power-hungry witch. She lies about her family status to make it seem like she's more prominent. She's dark and evil while trying to appear soft and light. The actress who plays her needs to be able to pack a punch.
Things at Hogwarts are far worse than I feared. Cornelius will want to take immediate action.
The first option is Rachel Weisz. She's appeared in movies such as The Brothers Bloom and Definitely Maybe. She's good at being sweet and innocent, but also decisive. She's a bit taller than Imelda Staunton, and I've always pictured Umbridge on the short side. I think she could pull off the character flip pretty easily.
Sometimes it is hard to remember whether you have loaded the pellet or not. I do fear confusion and accidents.
The second option is Keegan Connor Tracy. She breaks the British rule as she's from Canada. She's not shy of the magical roles appearing in The Magicians and Once Upon a Time. I'm a big fan of Keegan Connor Tracy. I've loved the roles I've seen her in, and she can easily be the mousy Umbridge and the one that screams in your face.
That's per month. In cash. I don't think the government needs to know about our little arrangement, do you?
Alistair Moody. Brendan Gleeson played Mad-Eye Moody, and Barty Crouch Jr. pretending to be Mad-Eye Moody. He appeared in 3 of the 8 films. Moody is a badass aura. He has several battle scars like missing an eye, leg, and part of his nose. Just like Voldemort, whoever they cast as Moody needs to be comfortable with being in the makeup department for a while. They will also need to be able to act as one character while pretending to be another.
I reckon there will be. They won't know which Harry Potter is the real one.
The real one?
I believe you're familiar with this particular brew.
The first option is Sean Maguire. Like Keegan Connor Tracy, he appeared in The Magicians and Once Upon a Time. In The Magicians, Sean Maguire played 2 characters during the same season. He also spent hours in the makeup to become one of them. So getting scars and the eye would be a breeze compared to it. He's a good actor, and I love to see him in a role like this.
I'm fine here. They'll help the others search the castle for any remaining victims of the sleeping curse.
The second option is Gerald Butler. He was in 300 and P.S. I Love You. Jared Butler is good in action and tough roles, but he's much more than that. He can really pull off that battle-worn look.
A nice castle. So you got an army of psychotics and deviants to dance around for you.
You're thinking small, Cable.
Nymphadora Tonks. The beautiful Natalia Tena played Nymphadora Tonks. She first starts in the Order of the Phoenix. Tonks is one of the youngest members of the Order of the Phoenix. She and Charlie only finished at Hogwarts a year before Harry starts. She's spunky and fun. She's an aura, but also bad at household magic. She's clumsy, yet strong. She loves deeply and follows her heart.
Don't worry, Harry. We'll explain everything when we get back to headquarters.
Shh! Not here, Nymphadora.
Don't call me Nymphadora.
The first option is Rose Reynolds. You might recognize her from The World's End or Once Upon a Time. Rose Reynolds' character in Once Upon a Time gives me Tonk vibes. When I first thought of my choices, clips of the show popped in my head. She's good at those playful, clumsy moments and grows when finding love.
Bad, something's broken, something's wrong. It's all gonna go wrong. I'm not bad, I'm not bad.
Tilly, you can't be back here.
Oh, hey there, Weaver. I'm glad to see your face.
The second option is Olivia Cooke. She appeared in Ready Player One and the TV series Bates Motel. I feel like Olivia Cooke is one of those slow rise or just picks projects that she really wants to be in. She can do the sweet girl thing, but also be kick-ass too.
Have you showered? Only every couple of days lately, but no one said anything, so I thought I was getting away with it.
You're not.
Oh, sorry, I tried.
Kingsley Shacklebolt. George Harrison played Kingsley Shacklebolt. He was in the Order of the Phoenix and both Deathly Hallows. Kingsley is a big deal in the Ministry of Magic. He eventually becomes the Minister. During the series, we see him as a spy for the Order within the Ministry, trying to protect everyone from Voldemort. He even protects the Muggle Minister when things get bad. He's powerful and charismatic.
Well, you may not like him, Minister, but you can't deny Dumbledore's got style.
The first option is Idris Elba. He starred in the Thor movies and played John Luther on both the TV show and the movie Luther. Idris Elba is a presence on the screen, as is Kingsley. They both give off strength and order. He's smooth and suave. He'd be a really good Kingsley.
It was a compulsion. You did it because you needed to do it. And it's that compulsion that makes you weak in ways that you can't see or understand.
The second option is Alfred Enoch. This might be a familiar name, as he played Dean Thomas in the original Harry Potter movies. He's also appeared in How to Get Away with Murder and This Is Christmas. This is a fan service choice. I'll admit I think Elba would do more in the role, but I would love to see some of the original kid actors come back for new roles. Enough time has passed for it to work out well.
That's not to say that I haven't had those things, but I think as many people have probably found in this time, this has been a very extreme time in lots of ways and has brought up a lot of things.
Gilderoy Lockhart. The hilarious Gilderoy Lockhart was played by Kenneth Branagh. I mentioned him earlier as the potential for Albus Dumbledore. Lockhart needs to be shiny and charismatic. He makes everyday moments feel like a production. He can feel larger than life, yet his life is all a lie. The actor will need to play a character who's playing a character. While we didn't get in the movie, we meet him again at St. Mungo's. This means the person will also need to play the character after losing his memory of who he was while still being eccentric.
But I don't talk about that. I didn't get rid of the band and banshee by smiling at them.
The first option is Joseph Morgan. He played Klaus Michelson in The Vampire Diaries and the originals. He also appeared in the movie The Immortals. Joseph Morgan can be charming. Many people find him attractive. He can also make you laugh. He can pull off a lot of the Lockhart qualities.
Why would I want to cure myself of being the most powerful creature on the planet?
The second option is Tom Hiddleston. He played Loki in several Marvel movies and shows. He also plays F. Scott Fitzgerald in Midnight in Paris. There are a lot of things about Loki that could transfer to playing Lockhart. He can pull off the blonde curly hair and has a very charming smile.
I am Loki of Asgard, and I am burdened with glorious purpose.
Horace Slughorn. Horace Slughorn was portrayed by Jim Broadbent. He started the series in Half-Blood Prince. Slughorn loves having connections with influential people. It makes him feel like he's important. He's a Slytherin who didn't fall into the Death Eater crowd but feels guilt for his conversations with young Tom Riddle.
Manages to brew an acceptable draught of living death. The recipes for which can be found on page 10 of your books.
The first option is Toby Jones. He was in the TV show Wayward Pines and the Hunger Game movies. I feel like Toby Jones has a good luck for Slughorn. He has a long list of roles he's played. He can really give off that professor vibe.
I'm entertaining a small group next week. Captain Ruby is coming for tea.
The second option is Sean Bean. He starred in the fantasy movies Lord of the Rings and the TV show Game of Thrones. Sean Bean looks a little less what I pictured as Slughorn, maybe more of a Eye Moody, but he's a fantastic actor. I could see him play the character who collects others.
It's nothing really. It's just a letter I wrote when you first came to us.
Peeves the Poltergeist. While it didn't make it into the final film, Rick Mayhall played Peeves in The Sorcerer's Stone. I'm unsure why he was cut out of the movie, but it would have been nice to have Peeves around. I'm sure there will be a lot of CGI involved in creating Peeves, but it will all be based around an actor. Peeves can float and move through walls. He's a mischievous trickster. Being a poltergeist, Peeves is different from the ghost as he can interact with objects. The actor chosen needs to be really good at pulling off comedy. The first option is Simon Pegg. He's been in several comedies such as Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. I've always found Simon Pegg to be hilarious. He's so good at a comedy role. I can picture him floating around Hogwarts messing with the students and professors.
What's the matter, David? I'm taking a shortcut before.
The second option is Rowan Atkinson. He's most well known as being Mr. Bean, but he's also Johnny English in Johnny English. It's hard to picture him as anyone but Mr. Bean, but he's really good at the movement needed for those awkward comic moments. I can almost hear his voice when thinking of Peeves.
Look, actually, I don't need a bag. I'll just put it in my pocket.
No, this isn't a bag, sir.
Really?
This is so much more than a bag.
Bellatrix Lestrange. The amazing Helena Bonham Carter played Bellatrix. She joined the cast during the Order of the Phoenix. It's hard to imagine anyone else playing Bellatrix. She does such a fantastic job at bringing the character to life. Bellatrix is an evil, mad character. Some say she's Voldemort's right hand. She spent years in Azkaban for crimes committed as a Death Eater. After escaping, she continued to do unspeakable things.
He knows how to play! Itchy, pretty, baby. What?
The first option is Karen Gillan. She plays Nebula in several of the Marvel movies. She is also in the horror film Oculus. Karen Gillan is good at being any character she puts her mind to. I can see her being the evil Bellatrix and the almost eager puppy when it comes to Voldemort.
So after I murder my sister, I will bow worship with every conceivable instrument of death. I will hunt my father like a dog and I will tear him apart slowly.
The second option is Natalie Dormer. She's already part of the Wizarding world as the narrator of A History Magic. As for the big screen, she's in the Hunger Games movies and The Forest. Natalie Dormer, with black hair, would be amazing as Bellatrix. She could be both wild and calm, insane but smart. Truth be told, this would be my number one choice.
A charm to make yourself invisible, tips on how to capture a basilisk, and a crystal ball that belonged to a witch known as Smelly Nelly.
Lucius Malfoy. Jason Isaac plays Lucius Malfoy. There was a moment in time where he almost wasn't going to be in the films, but luckily he was. He plays a villain so well. Lucius Malfoy is the embodiment of wealth and influence in the Wizarding world. He thinks he's top dog and isn't afraid to say so. He's very self-serving and knows how to protect himself.
Let us hope that Mr. Potter will always be around to save the day.
The first option is Tom Felton. Of course, he played Draco Malfoy in the original Harry Potter films. Since then, he's appeared in The Forgotten Battle and A Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting. Tom Felton knows his character inside and out, and he still has a great relationship with Jason Isaacs, so he could be there for any help that he may need. It would also be cool to see him return to the TV series.
Come again. Enunciate, darling. Try using your words on the world.
The second option is Joe Anderson. He starred in Horns with Daniel Radcliffe and the Beatles musical Across the Universe. Joe Anderson is a bit older than Felton. I think he has a good look for the high society Lucius and the slowly beaten down one as well.
What does that matter?
You mean like, who really knows anyone anyway?
No, just doesn't matter.
How would we live?
Narcissa Malfoy. The wonderful Helen McCrory played Narcissa Malfoy. She only joined during The Half-Blood Prince, but was in both of the Deathly Hallows as well. We don't see as much of Narcissa as we do Lucius. She stands by the Death Eaters without actually being one. She loves her son deeply and tries to protect him from the dark world they are a part of.
I know I ought not to be here. The Dark Lord himself forbade me to speak of this.
The first option is Lily Collins. She's known for appearing in The Immortal Instruments and Love, Rosie. Fun fact, she's the daughter of the amazing musician Phil Collins. If you're on the younger side and don't know who he is, do yourself a favor and look him up on YouTube. Lily Collins can be very convincing in her roles. She makes you feel for the character she's playing. She's already starred in a few things that have been adapted from books, so she wouldn't be new to the game.
It took me over a decade to look at this photo. What happened to her head? You need to release me, Ted.
The second option is Emilia Clarke. She is well known for her portrayal of Daenerys Targaryen in the Game of Thrones series, and for her roles in movies such as Me Before You and Last Christmas. Emilia Clarke knows what it takes to film an extended TV show series, one that is filmed back-to-back and action-packed. Narcissa wouldn't need to be around the whole time, but she would be there more than what was in the movies. I could easily see her with the blonde hair and the dark clothes.
Oh my god, I don't believe it!
What?
But where did you get them?
That's a secret. Tights.
Only the best pair of tights ever! Oh, I'm gonna go try them on. I'm gonna go.
Barty Crouch Jr. David Tennant played Barty Crouch Jr. He was only in one film, The Goblet of Fire. Barty Crouch Jr. doesn't have a lengthy role, but he has an important one. He's an evil man who lets his mother die and be buried in an unmarked grave in Azkaban so he could have his freedom. He's an intelligent and powerful wizard.
You know what this means, don't you? He's back. Lord Voldemort has returned.
The first option is Colin O'Donoghue. He played Captain Hook in Once Upon a Time and appeared in the movie The Right. Donahue has a clean-cut look, but can also have that bad boy darker look. I think that would work well if they did any flashbacks before rejoining the Death Eaters.
I will kill your mother, and in exchange, you will bring me to a land without magic where I can finally get my revenge on Rumpelstiltskin.
The second option is Frank Delane. He was in the original series as a younger Tom Riddle in The Half-Blood Prince. He was also in the Walking Dead spin-off Fear of the Walking Dead. Frank Delane would be a bit of a fan service, bringing back a younger character as an adult. He has that grunge look I imagine for him in the post-Death Eater phase.
Because I don't think anything really means anything to him at the moment. He seems to have nothing to gain and nothing to lose. And there's nothing more dangerous than a person who has nothing to lose.
Sybil Trelawney. The mystical, goofy Sybil Trelawney was played by Emma Thompson. I mentioned her earlier as a potential choice for playing McGonagall. Trelawney is a witch who pretends to be a seer because she doesn't realize she is actually a seer. She's really good at reading people, but is also socially awkward. She's ungrounded, but some people still think she's amazing.
You may be young in years, but the heart that beats beneath your bosom is as shriveled as an old maid's. Your soul as dry as the pages of the books to which you so desperately cleave.
The first option is Florence Pugh. She's recently been rising in the ranks and appearing in films such as Oppenheimer, Don't Worry Darling, and Midsommar. She really throws herself into her roles. You can see she takes them very seriously. She is very good at adapting to different characters and really becoming them.
Hi! I made macaroni if you want some.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, I was starving and you took forever, so I wanted to make food.
The second option is Emily Blunt. She plays the new version of Mary Poppins and starred in the horror franchise A Quiet Place. I think Emily Blunt popped in my head because of her role for Mary Poppins. There's a fan theory that Mary Poppins attended Hogwarts, and I love the fuel this would add to the fun conversation. She also seems that she can be rather fun and goofy, which would play well as Trelawney.
You must be here to slay the giant.
The giant?
Yes, haven't you heard? We have a giant in our midst.
Argus Filch. Argus Filch was portrayed by David Bradley. He appeared in 7 of the 8 films. Filch is a character who seemingly hates students. He's a squib who cannot perform magic, working in a school that teaches it. Why on earth would he choose that life? I don't know, but he seems to hate it. The only thing he seems to care about is his companion cat, Mrs. Norris.
Caught in the act. I'll have you out this time, Potter. Mark my words.
The first option is Robert Carlyle. He was in 28 Weeks Later and Trainspotting. I feel that he would be a really good look for Filch. He's also really good at playing those darker or meaner characters.
Did you really think you could steal from me?
Oh, it's just a piece of tin.
And yet so much more.
The second option is Tim Roth. He starred in the TV series Lie to Me and the 2001 Planet of the Apes movie. Tim Roth also has a decent look for Filch, if he had long hair. He has a long list of acting credits with some big-name movies. The Harry Potter movies might have had Filch in a more minor role, but I think the TV show would feature him more.
Would be a lie, but you move on, don't you? You have to move on.
Cornelius Fudge. Robert Hardy played Cornelius Fudge, the Minister of Magic. He started in The Chamber of Secrets and finished his role in the Order of Phoenix. Fudge is the type of character that has been given a lot of control but doesn't deserve it. He doesn't always seem to make the right choices and often asks for help and privacy. He does what he can to act like everything's okay when it's all burning down around him.
Oh, come now, Harry. The Ministry doesn't send people to Azkaban for blowing up their aunt.
The first option is Colin Firth. He played Michael Peterson in the miniseries The Staircase. He's also been in the movie Bridget Jones's Diary. Colin Firth can be really good at conveying the sense of being superior and inferior. He also has that proper ministry look down.
The day your father died, I missed something. And if it weren't for his courage, my mistake would have cost the lives of every man present.
The second option is Martin Freeman. He portrayed Bilbo Baggins in the Hobbit series and Arthur Dent in The Hitchhiker's Guide to a Galaxy. I love Martin Freeman in The Hitchhiker's Guide. He could bring some of that into playing Fudge, that sense of being completely out of place while trying to figure out what is going on.
I'd like to talk to the inspector.
You can speak to the inspector, but I can promise you he will tell you exactly the same thing as I am. Hello, Nicholas. How's the hand?
Rita Skeeter. Miranda Richardson played Rita Skeeter. She made a splash in Goblet of Fire. I recently learned that before getting the role, she did a bit about Harry Potter where she played Hermione. Rita's a very secretive person with a loud mouth. As a reporter, she tried to make stories sound more juicy than they are. She's not afraid to lie to make something sound more dramatic. Hopefully, the show will also be able to show her in her animagus form.
I'm Rita Skeeter. I write for the Daily Prophet. But of course you know that, don't you? It's you we don't know.
The first option is Rebecca Madar. When I hear her name, I always picture her as Charlotte from Lost, but she was also in Once Upon a Time. I don't know why, but there's something about Rebecca Madar's voice that fits the role of Rita Skeeter. She's a natural redhead and Rita is a blonde, but that could be fixed with a wig or hair dye.
Visitors. I'll put the kettle on. Another woman defining her happiness relative to the love of a man. That's sad, really. You know, I'm not sure what you see in him. What do you want?
The second option is Kaya Scodelario. She was in the Maze Runner series and the TV show Skins. I can see her in the role of a reporter. She can be very sneaky and disarming, but she can also act like a queen bee, or should I say, beetle.
It's working. Do you understand? That's why this is so important.
Molly Weasley. The lovable Molly Weasley was played by Julie Walters. She's in all but one film. Molly Weasley is one of my favorite characters. She's so loving and caring, but also a strong badass. The new Molly will need to be able to flip from one side to another. An example is when she scolds her kids in one moment and is entirely different to Harry. She needs to feel like she's everyone's mom.
Harry, how wonderful to see you, dear. Bed's empty, no note, car gone. You could have died. You could have been seen. Of course, I don't blame you, Harry, dear.
The first option is Catherine Parkinson. She starred in the TV series The IT Crowd, and Here We Go. It's hard to picture anyone else in this role. Julie Walters is Molly Weasley, but I would say that Catherine Parkinson can give off that motherly vibe and can be funny too.
Oh gosh, I love her.
Yeah.
She's everything you want her to be, and
it's great to have her there because the idea of making it and then her seeing it and hating it is awful. So she's completely, involved.
The second option is Miranda Otto. She breaks the British rule as she's from Australia. She was in War of the Worlds and I, Frankenstein. Miranda Otto can be warm and tough, love and fight. These are qualities that Molly needs to have.
How many times have I been talking to her but thinking that I was talking to you? And don't tell me that it hasn't happened. Escape to Witch Mountain isn't the only Disney movie I've seen. I'm extremely familiar with The Parent Trap as well.
Arthur Weasley. Mark Williams played the curious character Arthur Weasley. We first meet him in Chamber of Secrets. Arthur needs to be fun and tough. He's not afraid to stand up for his belief no matter the cause. The new actor will need to easily show amusement and curiosity. There's a lot unsaid that comes across in facial expressions.
Now, Harry, you must know all about muggles. Tell me, what exactly is the function of a rubber duck?
The first option is Domhnall Gleeson. He's already part of the Weasley family, having played Bill in the original films. He's also been in About Time and Ex Machina. I love the idea of having Weasley Child come back to play the father. Domhnall Gleeson might not have the teddy bear look, but he knows what it takes to be Arthur.
Bill Weasley.
Oh, pleasure to meet you.
He's never always this handsome. Daredevil.
True enough. I was also a werewolf named a Greyback. Hopefully pay the favour one day.
The second option is Nick Frost. He was in Sick Note with Rupert Grint. He's also starred in Snow White and the Huntsman. Nick Frost has comedic timing down solid. Arthur has that air of curiosity which I think Frost can really pull off. Just dye his hair red and put on a sweater and we'll be good to go.
I'll look at it when I come back from work, alright? But please, if you're going to use it, put on some underpants, because it's really unhygienic.
Oh, stop trying to control me.
So we've reached the end of our list, 25 characters being recast for the Harry Potter TV show series. Make sure to comment on which option you think would be best. If there is anyone else you have in mind, let me know. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video or want to support the channel, please consider giving a like or drop a comment. You can also subscribe for more videos. I'll be back again soon with another video, but until then, keep enjoying the magic.